From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big early morning broadcast of Early Mornings LALATE as that world exclusive delivered on this channel twice this week details the inclusion of a monthly stimulus check. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, we'll go over the near completion of negotiations of the reconciliation budget bills, inclusion of an IRS stimulus check. So tells staffers to viewers of this channel. Staffers also say it'll be a monthly stimulus check and that the duration will be $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000, running for 6 months. New on Early Mornings LA are the deal provisions that'll be for 18 years and older, and that the check was actually being negotiated even higher by some Democrats but couldn't get the higher price tag. In this recording, we'll go over the incredible first 645 pages of that reconciliation budget bill that pays a lot of money, including hazard pay and money for seniors. Cluster number 2 that has more checks in there as well for individuals and also for seniors. And then we got to big money for available for bikes and cars. And then we'll go to the big surprise as the president dedicates more money out under third stimulus. Those additional sums of money are for rent. And then we'll be cutting to the big laugh of the moment as Mitch McConnell tries to pass off the debt ceiling limit as something other than it is. I mean, next he'll tell you it's for scarves. It's a big early mornings broadcast. We're going to have a lot of world exclusives, a lot of fun, and a lot of big information. And guess what? It's the weekend. And they are in town and they're working. I'll have big details all weekend long because the toast is toasting, the butter is buttery, and the coffee is brewing. This is Early Mornings LA. Here in Southern California. Our heat wave is gone, and so it's beautiful surfing weather. I mean, every day is beautiful surfing weather, isn't it? In this recording, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check and the world exclusive delivered on this channel only about its inclusion and why the negotiations may actually be complete. Oh my goodness. We'll be going over what staffer after staffer told viewers of this channel about its inclusion and why you need to advocate down to the finish line. We'll be cutting to cluster number 2, cluster number 3, and cluster number 1 that has big checks for you in this first 645 pages of this reconciliation budget bill. It's a big early mornings broadcast. We'll be cutting over the debt ceiling limit and what Mitch McConnell's trying to pass it off as. I mean, Maxwell probably try to pass it off as a BLT sandwich. Then we'll be cutting to fifth stimulus and the big surprise as the nonprofits. Yes, those incredible nonprofits are paying rent in 24 hours for viewers of the channel. It's a big day. It's a big early mornings LA, and this is LA. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. What a week it's been. What the last 2 weeks it's been. We've been on fire. I want you to stay with me all weekend long because guess what? The legislators are in town. They're negotiating over the weekend. They may release parts of the bill over the weekend. There's a lot of things that could happen over the weekend. And I'm still going through the private messages that viewers have sent me about what they had conversations with the legislators for. So I'm going to have a lot of world exclusives for you as well about those conversations additionally. Stay with me all weekend long and subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Next stop, 1 million. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP. Don't forget to sign up for those LA alerts as well. Coming up next is Overnight Crypto, currently playing live on this channel, and Morning's Countdown at 7 o'clock. Then Mornings LA live on air at 9 a.m. Let's cut right into that monthly stimulus check. The world exclusive delivered on LA to the news site, which has been around for nearly 20 years, is that staffers from both congressional House and Senate Democrats report to viewers this channel that negotiations are near complete on the inclusion of a stimulus check in the fourth stimulus recon, the $3.5 trillion package. Multiple checks that will run for 6 months, $1,000 after the first month of being $2,000. The new world exclusives delivered today on this channel are the following. That one, Pelosi Warren and others try to get a bigger price tag. They try to get $1,400 a month and try to get 12 months of checks. They couldn't get 12 months, so they got 6 months. And they couldn't get the $1,400 a month. They got the $1,000 a month. Next, the checks will be provided to individuals 18 years or older. Adult dependents are included, and that we're hearing that the eligibility may be the same as prior stimulus checks. We definitely do know that if a person is newborn to age 17, they won't get the CTC check plus this. That would be duplicative. They're getting the CTC check, which I'm going over in just a second. We presume that the eligibility for everyone else is the same. $75,000 or less an individual, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 or less, you get it. Double it. And family of 4, you get it as well. Well, there you go. It's important to understand that I'm also hearing that the legislation may already have been written, but not particularly yet released, and maybe because of the president's doing. There was a lot of statements by the president late yesterday and the day before saying, you know what, don't release stuff as a big book because it looks like it's etched in stone. I wanted a very fluid situation. I don't want it to look like take it or leave it. In fact, the reason why you watch this channel is because I have the ability within a given day to dedicate nearly 14, 16 videos a day on this channel for coverage of the subject matter. Broadcast media, they don't have that time. They don't have that programming and ability to cover the subject matter. So they don't cover it with any detail. And even on this channel, I don't have the ability to show you in the time that I have on air that, ironically, the first 645 pages, some of the provisions were removed during this week. Provisions that don't concern you. They're all tax issues, like inheritance tax, in there, then out. Also added in, but not in there before. Ron Wyden's provision reportedly added in to tax billionaires in a different way. So they're making changes by the minute. The president wanted to make very clear, don't make it look like it's a closed book. That's after Schumer and Pelosi said the framework was done, and the president said, yeah, sort of done, but we're still modifying things. There you go. More about that in a second. Let's cut first the first 645 pages of that reconciliation budget bill. What's important to understand that the budget bill is checks for you that are not pandemic related. Nothing in there you require to be pandemic related. There are checks for hazard pay individuals, also repairs of the home, bikes, cars, vehicles, and $51,000 of MSCs. Let's go to the first check, and that is hazard pay. Very proud to report to you that hazard pay will be a lifetime part of the U.S. economy. They're making hazard pay lifetime under forced stimulus after this channel did nearly 500 videos advocating for it in 2020. What are they doing? They're taking an old tax code called the Earned Income Tax Credit, modifying it so that more people who are essential workers qualify for it and paying out more money. So for every year that you're an essential worker, you qualify for this EIC, you will get that payment. Next, big surprise, up to $4,000 a year if you care for an elderly person. This is huge for a lot of home health care providers. And also on the other side, up to $4,000 if you care for a young child. These were inserted by Ron Wyden after his pushing across the board. Really incredible details. Excuse me, not Ron Wyden, Richard Neal, head of the Ways and Means Committee. All right, what about $51,000 of monthly stimulus checks, multiple stimulus checks, MSCs? It's in there. It's the CTC, the Child Tax Credit. If you are a parent of in a low-income household and you just gave birth to a child, you got up to $300 a month every year that you qualify for. So if you remain a low-income household and you have that child, you get up to $300 every month, every year, for up to 18 years per child, which is $51,000. College students get no less than 3 different potential items, grants directly to them, grants to the university, and they're making the Pell Grant tax-free. Well, what about the home? Homes get in there as well. If you have a home in a low-income community, there'll be incentives to repair that home provided by the federal government. Huge details across the board. And then bikes, cars, and electric vehicles made by U.S. auto manufacturers that are electric. Let's go over all the deliciousness of that. Up to 15% for the purchase of a new electric bike from a U.S. manufacturer will be paid for by the U.S. government. Then, what about a new electric car for personal use? Up to $7,500 for that. If the car is for business use and it's electric, a little bit more. If it's a truck electric for business use, a little bit more as well. There you go. That's the first cluster. In the second cluster, we got 12 more checks. In the third cluster, we got even a handful more. There's a lot of checks in there. And these incredible checks I'm going to be detailing in just a second, but let's take a detour over to the third stimulus with a big surprise as an additional $13 billion landed in cities and county states this week. They're going to start to reallocate it to you, and I need you to know what it is because it's for you. It's for rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance. Treasury made the announcement over a week ago. Treasury is happy to provide the state and local governments with these additional resources to support Americans in need of rental assistance. It's rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance. I'm going to go over that later in this video. Stay to the very end. Let's cut now to the second cluster of checks and third cluster of checks. Cluster number 2 has no less than 12 checks, and they are deliciousness. What are those checks? Here we go. The first one pays a lot. It's paid family leave and paid medical leave. Paid family leave if you have the carefree pregnant spouse and stay home from work. Paid medical leave. You have to stay home from work because someone's sick, like your son broke his leg. How much does it pay? Under third stimulus was supposed to pay $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. Let's split it in half. Let's say you make $35,000 a year. Then you would get $800 a week. Let's split it in half. If you make $15,000 a year, you would get $400 a week. Yeah, it's a lot of money. Then the next cluster checks are absolutely incredible. Well, cluster check number 2 is expanding the child care program. Check number 3 is the household tax credit check. And then comes one that I'm very excited, the weatherization check. Yeah, there's a second check for your home. Weatherization, which is always really needed to weatherize your home if the Purple Hawks are on the roof, especially if they're on the roof of Fox News. Yeah, interesting visual there. So weatherizing home is, for example, you're a fire area or a tornado area or a hurricane area. Then expansion of Medicare benefits to include dental, vision, and hearing, and medical eligibility age dropping. That's more under the third cluster coming up in a second. And then more checks for education. Free pre-kindergarten and tuition-free community college. Tuition-free community college, very popular, especially because there's a very popular class sweeping the nation right now. It's called What the Hell is LA Saying? 101. It's the introductory class. You're not fluent yet in LA. People say I don't talk really clearly. I talk very confusing. I have a strange accent. Those people in LA, they're always in their flip-flops and they just sort of talk like they're flip-flops in their mouth. They're just very confusing people to listen to. There you go. It's a very popular class. And now you can take it for free. The green energy checks. I think you need that energy to take some of those classes about what the hell am I saying? More about that in a second. But where is Congress? What are they doing and how are they doing it? Congress is in town and is in town this weekend. And they're working on the legislation this weekend because they got a lot to do. They got upwards of an 8,000-page bill, of which 645 pages has been released, but new details for the first time on Early Mornings LA. Have they only written 645 pages? No, absolutely not. First of all, the sources from Pelosi's office tell no less than 3 viewers of this channel that negotiations are near complete and or finished, and or they've actually written or started to write or near finish writing the inclusion of that stimulus check provision. That is being written by AOC, Jayapal, Pelosi, and also Omar. Number 2, that there is certainly enough indications from the press conferences from Schumer and Pelosi that with the framework agreed upon, they've been writing this for a while and that it may actually be written. So why are the provisions not being released? Let's go over the details. First, the first 645 pages released by the House Ways and Means were because they had agreed upon those provisions. What do you think about the 15% for the bike? I like it. Go write it up. What about the $4,000 for the elderly? I like it. Go write it up. And they wrote it up. But ironically, even this week, the person who released the first 645 pages, Richard Neal, said, you know what, I'm going to modify some of those tax codes in there. So they actually pulled some of the items back. Also, the president, not less than twice this week, said, I'm not very big on just sort of pushing out a big book of bill and saying, here it is. Sort of shove it down people's throats and say, take it or leave it. I like to sort of sort of soften the situation. So you may see parts of the bill released separately as opposed to sort of a big drop of a bill. And you may see parts of the bill released, like the first 645, and then they pull back certain provisions. You don't want them to be yours. So far, they've only pulled back tax code provisions. All right, let's go to cluster number 3. Cluster number 3 has a $107 billion world exclusive. I mean, that's a big, expensive exclusive, isn't it? It's coming up right now. Cluster number 3, the president's checks. These are the ones the president's wants, and I love them as well. Free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, free internet checks, checks for farmers, and checks for workers like independent contractors, checks for Medicare, like lowering the medical eligibility age for Medicare, checks for dental, checks for vision, and checks for hearing care. All right, what's that 107 deal? Yes. A week ago yesterday, the Senate parliamentarian ruled that a provision in cluster number 3, which I never detail on camera, it's money for the judiciary, not you, judiciary, does not belong in there. She said you can't give them that money. Well, guess what? It doesn't take out the money. It just says they can't give the money to that department. So guess where the money goes to? You. Yeah, that $107 billion is now allocated across other resources for you. There's 2 checks in that third cluster, which the president particularly likes and I like because they're nearly automatic. The first one is the check for cheaper prescription medication. How does that work? Basically, let's say you go to pharmacy today, get a prescription filled. Take out two $20 bills from your wallet and give it to them. Then this becomes law shortly thereafter. And then when you go to refill, you may only have to take out one $20 bill. Wow. Then the other item that is really surprising is free internet. The federal government is going to give fortunes to cities and counties and states so that they can launch their own free internet company. This means that a local city will be able to start T-Mobile. Sir Lloyd's favorite beloved internet provider, T-Mobile. And that way you all have to say is just say, hey, I live here. I trip on your scars all the time. Of course I live here. And what's the username and password for the Wi-Fi connection? Oh, sir, it's a Blaine 666. Yeah, if you have problems with the internet, you can get them on the phone and then call Tier 2 and they'll help you with your internet. Just call Blaine 66. Oh boy, I'd love to see that conversation. In the second half of this video, we got a lot coming up. Boy, we have a lot coming up. We have the debt ceiling limit. I'll be going over this big cash infusion of $13 billion for the cities and county states for rent. I'll be going over the nonprofits that in the last week have been paying people's rent in less than 24 hours. The turnaround time is wonderful. I'm going to go over why the nonprofits are paying other items that the president's third stimulus doesn't even pay. Yes, you want this nonprofits to help pay you as well. We'll be cutting back over to more about this world exclusive, about this inclusion of the IRS MSC, so staffers say. And then we'll be cutting to fifth stimulus. And if we have time, we'll go a little bit over what happened with the meltdown of Wall Street and crypto this week. Those details and more as Early Mornings LA continues. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now from Santa Monica as early morning's LA continues. How's the weather where you are? Jump in the live chat, tell me where you're tuning in from and how the weather is. We got a lot coming up in the second half of this video. The debt ceiling limit, will it impact the delivery of your checks like Social Security on time or impact for stimulus? I'll explain the details. The answer's no, by the way. Then we'll be cutting to FIS stimulus, which raises your benefits up if you're on SSI and SSDI. We'll be cutting back to the world exclusive about what's going on with this incredible provision being added across the board, so says Democratic members. Then we'll be cutting back to third stimulus because guess what? They're paying, and they're paying big money. It's a big morning, and it's a big early morning, and this is LALATE. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Also sign up for the LALATE alerts underneath the video. Well, the president surprised us all with an extra cash infusion of $13 billion for rent, utilities, food, and mortgage assistance. This came to everyone's surprise a week ago. What's important to understand is they started sending out the money a week ago and continue to land out this week, so you got to pounce right away. Let's look at the money for rent, which has gone up double, utilities, which has gone up 300%, and the SNAP that has gone up 400% in a month for Purple Hawks, this channel. Hopefully you're a member. Let's look at the numbers. It was a month ago that viewers were getting $20,000 like Nisi to $27,000 by Elizabeth, all Purple Hawks. But like the week before, a week ago, Jen got $40,000 of rent. Several viewers got over $30,000. When we look at the money for utilities, Mark's brother-in-law, you remember Mark, he's $51,000 Mark, this Mark right here. His brother-in-law got $15,000 for utilities. That's a growth of 300% in a month. Then for SNAP, Mark's brother-in-law got $21,000. That's a 400% increase in a month. Let's go over all those details right now. Get pen, paper, and cell phone ready. We're going to get some more money for mortgage, utilities, and also rent and SNAP. I'm going to show you 6 places to reach out to. Reach out to all 6. They have different eligibility. They have different pots of money. Listen to the keywords I say in this video, and also listen for those nonprofits. All right, here are the 6 places you're going to reach out to. Your city hall, your city house authority. Your county hall, your county house authority. And your state hall and your state house authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage, or utility assistance because of COVID. Let's go over the 6 places again. City hall, city house authority. County hall, county house authority. State hall, and state house authority. Now, what's important for you to understand is that if you've gotten money before for rent from this channel, once you get more months. If you haven't gotten money before, or you reached out and they said, we're out of money, I want you as a member to read the newsletter that comes out every day on this channel about 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. In there, I now include the Treasury statement about this $13 billion. I want you to understand what it is before you call them. And when you do, say, have you gotten the money yet? If they say no, then say, can I be on the waiting list? If they don't have a waiting list, ask them if you can call every day. It's important to understand that this money will come. Every city, state, county, red, blue, rich, or poor will be getting it. But it's only $13 billion. It goes away pretty quickly. So you don't want to sit around for weeks. You want to do it within days. All right. Then I want you to get utility assistance. Reach out to all utility companies. If you have 5, reach out to all 5. And then finally, money for the nonprofits. Yes, the nonprofits have really shocked the socks off of viewers in the last 7 days of this channel. The nonprofits were the subject of nearly 500 videos on this channel in 2020 and early 2021 called Purple. And I did not know if they were still paying, so I brought them back into the mix of this channel about a week ago. And boy, are they ever. One viewer wants me to tell you that for St. Vincent de Paul, their rent assistance program paid that viewer in less than 24 hours. Very quick turnaround. Another viewer wants you to know that for United Way, same massive turnaround. One viewer got from one of the other nonprofits a free new refrigerator and also a furnace, and also got her window fixed. Here are the 5 nonprofits. They all do different things in different parts of the country. United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charity, St. Vincent de Paul. The thing that's very important about this, the nonprofits, is that if you've gotten money from one place, you can also go to the nonprofits and get other sums of money. Then they also have different eligibility than the federal government. The federal government may have this type of eligibility. Nonprofits do it their own way. Lastly, they have money and items that no one else has sometimes. They often have things for homelessness, into shelter, maybe clothing, maybe fixing a broken window. They just do unusual things because they're wonderful. All right, here are those 5 nonprofits again. They're also featured in the newsletter for members: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. Let's turn to Money Snap. To money for SNAP. SNAP is money for food you get from Department of Agriculture. It pays a lot. How much does it pay? Mark's brother-in-law, $21,000, is now going to be worth $26,000. What happened? The benefits were raised an average of 25% lifetime automatically nationwide starting in October. Now, what's important to understand is that the situation has been the result of confusion when it comes to 2 newsletters, and 2 letters, not newsletters, just letters. There's a letter going out that says, hi, your benefits were now been slashed because the executive orders from January to September have expired. People are getting that letter and freaking out. Unfortunately, the letter doesn't say, by the way, there's a letter right behind it that's coming in the mail after it that says your benefits now raised up an average of 25% lifetime starting October. So understand there's a second letter coming. How about those unemployment benefits? Whoa, those unemployment benefits are incredible. They are getting 2 benefits checks. First, the states are paying back the overpayment of unemployment benefits due to computer error. That average payment is about $2,000 to $5,000 for viewers. And then finally, IRS is paying back to you a refund check that of the unemployment benefits you pay taxes on. Average payment is about $1,200 to $2,000 for viewers of this channel. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it. If you got any of these sums of money on this channel, post in the live chat right now, because when you do, you help inspire other people to pick up the phone. Finally, if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Members are delivered daily from me to them a newsletter, formerly called the PDFs, that breaks down the big money under first, second, and third stimulus. It comes out about 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time every night on this channel. And it's delivered by the YouTube community page and also by the LA Alerts. Viewers are getting massive sums of money from this channel. Mark got $51,000, then Johnny got $80,000 in 7 days. Started the week at 0, then ended the week at $80,000. Same thing for Mark's brother-in-law and his friends. They started the week at 0, then by the end of the week they're at $50,000. Lorraine got $105,000. Viewers are getting massive sums of money. This money is available for you. I want you to get money as far forward as you can. If you're an Art Sullivan or Nisi who's already gotten $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 for this channel, I want you to go back and get more money, take it as far as you can into 2022. Because a lot of these programs may not carry over into 2022. You want to get the money, may not be covered in for stimulus. I want you to get this money now so you get covered as far into the future as possible. And with that, we go into the final 15 minutes of this video with the exciting details as Early Morning Dialogue continues, starting right now with the big world exclusive that was delivered by viewers and myself in the last few days. This channel, after the results of viewers picking up the phone and advocating, was informed that Pelosi's office told not less than 3 different sets of viewers, including Dragon, that negotiations were near and complete, that the inclusion of a stimulus check monthly is happening, and that it's $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000 for 6 months for individuals 18 years or older. But let's understand how we got there and how we need to still finish this off, because we're not finished yet. We got there by advocating. It's important to understand that in a given day, this channel has, 16, 18 videos a day. I have time in the programming schedule of LALATE to go over excruciating detail of a forced stimulus package. The broadcast media, they don't. They don't have 18 hours of programming time slots available to cover this. So they weren't covering it. They're still not covering it, and they'll never cover it. So you may never hear these details on the broadcast channels. They just don't have the time to cover it. But I knew that the Democrats had written it, that they're doing it. I said for you to advocate, and it started 8 weeks ago. When WR heard me and picked up the phone and advocated to Senator Chris Coons, have you called him? Coons, advocated for a stimulus check, and Coons, Democrat, Delaware, Joe Biden's oldest confidant, said yes. His staffer said, yes, he's doing it. World exclusive right there. And yet some people said, it's just Senator Chris Coons. I haven't heard from anyone else. Well, have you asked? And people weren't asking. We weren't asking, but we started advocating about 3 weeks ago, very loudly. It came as a series of things erupted. Number one was that I showed viewers that my belief was the Democrats on the House side would write up the legislation. We now know we're correct. I was correct. They actually are. And that we have two separate budget committees. We have a House Budget Committee and a Senate Budget Committee, whose chairman is Bernie Sanders. I had also told you a little bit earlier that Bernie Sanders emerged from series of meetings in the month of July saying, I did it. I got the $3.5 trillion price tag. What became recon procedural. He got it by negotiating. That's his number. That he's critical to the ingredients of this whole recon. It was, moreover, a particular quote 3 weeks ago that changed everything. When Bernie Sanders, the budget chairman, said that unlike prior budget chairmen, I like to get out amongst the people and hear from them when I'm writing a budget bill. That means he wants you to advocate. He wants you to pick up the phone and advocate. And I said, advocate. And 3 weeks ago, Brother Joshua made the phone call. Lynn Glenn made the phone call. And Margaret made the phone call. Now, what does advocacy look like? Advocacy for stimulus has been the core of this channel since day one. This channel made history in 2020. In 2020, a second stimulus check was not coming. The HEROES Act was dead on arrival. It wasn't going anywhere. It was December. You need a stimulus check, and I said, enough is enough. Let me come up with the idea of a stimulus check and a continuing resolution bill. They said that crazy LA kid, it's just a crazy idea. It doesn't belong in there. I said, I know it doesn't belong in there. Put it in there. I pushed, you pushed, and we got it done. This channel got America its $600 second stimulus check. And then when Bernie Sanders said that, that was our call to action, to do it again for fourth stimulus, to pick up the phone and advocate. And the last 48 hours, the advocacy that is manifested on this channel has been astronomically a next level. Margaret shows us how advocacy is done. When calling for a Senate office, she said, when I got through, I cried on the phone and the staffer cried with me to explain what I went through. Then another viewer whose name I withheld said, I told her about everything I've gone through, how I'm on SSI and SSDI. I lost my husband during the pandemic. I had 10 surgeries during the pandemic. I'm raising 2 teenage daughters during the pandemic on a very, very small check. I don't have enough. I said, that is the face of advocacy. And that's what Brother Joshua did 3 weeks ago. He advocated for you, his church, himself, and his community. And he got Sanders on the phone, his staffer, and they said yes. $1,400 to $1,000 a month, 3 to 6 months. And Sanders wants to see your support. I said world exclusive once again. And yet some people said, that's just Bernie. That's just Bernie wanting to do it. We don't have other people. That was also our call to action. Advocate with as many senators as you could advocate with so that they could all get on board with the same situation. And once we were able to drown them out, the naysayers, once we were to flood the Senate offices with our advocacy, everything started changing by the minute. It was Donnie that really sort of opened the floodgates because we saw someone who's just randomly said, I did everything you said. I advocated, and I got to tell you how I advocated. I advocated by saying, hey, this is what I need. I need to progress. I need to pay for my water. I need to pay for everything I need to pay for. I'm having problems paying for my bills. I don't have enough. I need more. And they said, yes, Bernie's doing a monthly stimulus check. The continuation passed over, viewer after viewer, as the advocacy continued to erupt. Hurricane Tina on last night's afternoon's show actually said she had a very, very deep advocacy when she called. She didn't want to publicly post it, which I understand. Everyone understands that viewers who advocated. Some people don't want to post specifically what they personally said about their lives. Lori advocated for all of us. Yaya, who's certainly gone through a lot, advocated extensively about her situation and what she needed. And Ron Wyden's office said yes, and he wants to do SS200 as well. Carolyn said, listen, people are losing their homes. They're losing everything they got. We got to get this in there. And then Will took it to another level by saying, you know what? I'm going to call 3 offices. While all these other phone calls had resulted in Bernie Sanders' office saying, yes, I'll do it, Will called 3 offices. He called Bernie's, he called Schumer's, and he called Elizabeth Warren's. And Liz Warren's office said, thank you for advocacy. Liz is doing it. She's doing $1,400 to $2,000, 6 to 12 months. Ironically, that's exactly what Pelosi's office says they tried to do. Pelosi's office says in the negotiations they tried to do 12 months. They couldn't get it. And they also tried to do $1,400 or $2,000 every month. They couldn't get it as well. Lorica was sort of the bombshell of the equation. Over a week ago, she revealed to us that the negotiations were now nearly the finish line, and that Bob Casey's office told her that. Big reveal. That really helped us ramp it up. But by the end of last week, we had the senators, but not the House members. I said, you got to focus on AOC, Jalapal, Pelosi, and Omar, and really make the calls. And a week ago, Paul made the call to AOC, and AOC's office confirmed the same numbers, which I'm reporting. That AOC's office wanted $1,000 a month after the first month of 2000, 6 to 12 months. Then Janice, who also called, Janice then called Jalapal's, confirmed there's a monthly. And Janice then this week called Omar's and got confirmation of monthly $1,000 after the first month thereafter. By this week, everything really ramped up quickly as Monday came upon us and Mark got Pelosi's office on the phone, and they confirmed the inclusion of a monthly stimulus check, $1,000 after the first month of 2000, and then negotiations are near complete. By the end of the week, Paul and Dragon had both gotten Pelosi's office on the phone, and they both advocated for a stimulus check. And Pelosi's office confirmed, 1, negotiations are near complete or are complete, that Omar, Jalapal, Pelosi were part of the negotiation team and or drafting it up. That's $1,000 after the first month of 2000 running 6 months, and that it's 18 years or older. There we go. So what do we have at this point? That advocacy works, but you still got to advocate. As you go into a new week, pick up the phone and call Omar, call Pelosi, call AOC, and call Jalapal. Advocate, vigorously advocate. If you picked up the phone before and you did what I said to do on the Senate side, now please do it on the House side. Because, 1, it looks emphatically 100% the case that the House is riding everything of this recon. Number 2, we're going to start on the House side for the voting process. Number 3, Pelosi staff tells 3 separate viewers this channel that Pelosi is riding the provision, Pelosi led the negotiations and is part of the writing team, or at least overseeing the writing team for the inclusion of the provision. And there you go. Now let's turn to the debt ceiling limit, which is really like a comedy hour. It really is. The debt ceiling limit has become fodder for just ridiculous claims like a BLT is made out of a Bentley and a Lexus and a Toyota. It's just like crazy stuff. So what's going on here? I'm going to go over your money. I'm going to go over 4 stimulus, and I'll also go over the working schedule. First, debt ceiling limit. Are they going to miss it? I think they are. I think they're not going to get it done. Am I worried about it? No, absolutely not. It doesn't concern us, doesn't concern you or me. What will happen to your checks? They're going to come on time. Your checks, if you're on Social Security, if you are on benefits like SSI or SSDI, if you're an active member of the armed services, if you're a federal employee or federal agency employee, you're going to get paid on time. You're going to continue to get paid on time. When does this become a concern or potential concern? If this goes 2 months into December, not looking like that's the situation right now. This channel's been around about 1.25 years. We've twice gone over the debt ceiling limit deadline before. Not a big issue. It happens all the time. Does it go 2 months over the deadline? Once in a generation. That's a very different situation where offices start to close. I don't see it happening yet, but for now, in September, your checks are arriving on time, your benefits are arriving on time. All right, let's turn to 4 stimulus. This is one of the big humor moments of today's recording. Mitch McConnell is out there doing his best comedy hour by telling Americans that if the debt ceiling limit is not done, then you're not getting your recon. One has nothing to do with the other. The debt ceiling limit concerns existing legislation. Does not concern something that's not law. You have a debt because you have to pay something that's law. Why would you have a debt to pay something that's not law? Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. In fact, conservative publications called out Mitch for that nonsense. The things that won't get paid are Trump's laws and Biden's laws from early 2021. The post-it notes that are on Pelosi's table, or the drafts that are on Omar's table of your forced stimulus recon, they don't have debt because they're not a law yet. They haven't become laws, so there's no debt associated with that. Doesn't make any sense. Finally, work schedule. Does it impair work schedule? No, it does not. Pelosi was very smart to get the debt ceiling limit done and out of the House. It's gone out of the House. It's in the Senate. So this does not impair any House members' work schedule. And it barely impairs anyone in the Senate because the senators who are dealing with that are not dealing with this. They're not the same group of people. They have different people for different things. This stimulus raises your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and Railroad benefits. Kicks in about December. If they get that for a vote around November, they're still drafting it, not done. This would be the next stimulus package. Raises your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits. Applies a new benchmark. If that new benchmark's inflation, you'll go up more as well. If the inflation is 5%, you'll go up additionally. Then they're going to remove the asset cap, remove the income cap, and remove the marriage penalty. Meantime, stay with me all weekend long because there is going to be a lot happening. I don't want you to sort of disappear and then come back. I want you to get ready to advocate. In fact, do your research this weekend. Get everything ready. If you're going to call the nonprofits, which may or may not be open over the weekend, get their numbers ready. If you're going to call the nonprofits, get the numbers ready. If you're going to call Omar, Pelosi, Jalapal, and AOC, which you are, you're going to get those numbers ready so you have everything ready to do and know what to say. I want you to get as much money as you can for the nonprofits and third stimulus now. Coming up on this channel is Overnight's Crypto. It's a big show because it goes over this implosion of crypto. PCR, People's Republic of China, did what I had been telling viewers for over 2 months. I've been predicting that it was a bear market, that there was going to be another PCR-induced crash, and that it was long overdue, and that was going to happen after PCR really went after the casinos in Macau about a week ago, saying, I don't like you, and it was the same language they used for crypto, basically, the same mentality. Guess what? It happened. Friday it happened. And this is good. In that video, that Overnight's Crypto show, I go over a little bit more about inflation rate and what's going on with the Federal Reserve, so watch it. It's a very, very helpful video. I'll be back with you next with Countdown LALATE and at 7 o'clock, and then mornings LALATE live on air at 9 a.m. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. The toast is toasting. The butter is buttering. I'll be here with you all weekend long, and stay with LA for more.